What is going on, YouTube? It is your boy MrBaboon back with a reaction video. This time we have the worst king in English history. So, and this is I will say, a little long one. We got like 45 minutes of this video. So, I mean, the reaction will probably be like maybe 50 to an hour. So, I mean, this might even be an hour-long video just for a reaction for one video. But I mean, that's okay, because we're going on about the worst king in English history. And I'm excited. I will have the video down below in the description, the channel link down below in the description as well. So, if you guys want to watch that, make sure you guys go check it out. I will have it down below in the description if you guys want to. Make sure you guys do like, comment, subscribe, turn on post notifications. I really do appreciate it. So, I think without that being said, let's go ahead and jump into this, shall we? Okay, let's go and get in this. Let's go and like bang. Full screen. Bang.
Loss of territory? The British Empire disintegrated under the rule of Elizabeth II, and many people loved her. Exploitation of their people? Charles I taxed his subjects into oblivion to buy analog NFTs. General sadistic behavior. Richard III probably killed his nephews and definitely drowned his brother in wine. Yet when one thinks of the worst English monarch, one name consistently comes to mind: King John. But this begs the question, was King John really that bad? Yeah, was I really that bad? Yeah, you kind of were.
Let's learn about King John.
Through the early Middle Ages, Europe didn't have nations as much as they had kingdoms of culturally similar people, kind of like a high school cafeteria. The Franks were the cool kids, the Byzantines the posh, Anglo-Saxons were the kids from the sticks, Italians were the weird religious kids, the Moors were the foreign exchange students, and the Visigoths were like Goths in our time and were appropriately crushed out of existence. But there was one more clique, the metalheads known as the Vikings. And the turn of the millennia was the height of the Viking Age, with leaders like Rollo the Walker that headbanged his way into France. Oh, okay, you can have some land and we'll call it Normandy. While England was being invaded by leaders like Sven Forkbeard and his son Canute, whose name is far funnier if you have dyslexia. And then, in 1066, William, Duke of Normandy, had the best idea this side of combining peanut butter and chocolate: invade England and link the two realms together. And despite him being an invader, the English people cheered at his coronation, which William's guards mistook for an assassination attempt and started massacring everyone.
Oh, shit!
But over the course of William's reign, he unified the two sides, brought Norman culture to England, and established a dynasty that would run smoothly long after he was gone. Or at least until his son Henry I died. This started the Anarchy, which is just about the coolest name for a civil war ever. Suck it, war between the states. Enter Henry II of Normandy, who on account of his
Ooh. Let me make sure everything's working. Okay, that's working.
exiled mother, having claimed to the English
Everything's
throne,
good.
invaded England at the young age of 14.
Come on, guys, it'll be easy.
Sire, are you sure? You have no experience in...
I will say this is not a sponsored stream or anything, but I'm drinking. Oh, not a sponsored stream. This isn't a sponsored video or anything. I'm just enjoying some of this. So, and of course, if you're drinking, drink responsibly, drink of age, all that good stuff. So, just want to go ahead and state that real fast.
Well, your parents didn't sign your permission slip.
So what? I'm 14. That's middle age for the Middle Ages. What's the worst that can happen? So yeah, Mom, we kind of got captured and I need you to come pick me up. Oh no, Henry, I told you not to go, but you just had to prove that you're a big boy now. You know, you're just like your father.
Kid, your mother sure is a handful. Tell you what, why don't I make you my heir and we call this whole civil war off?
King Stephen, but isn't your son Eustace already your heir?
It would seem God did not want that so.
Count Eustace, it's not right to pillage a house of God.
If God has a problem with it, he's free to let me know. You missed me, big guy.
So with that,
Oh,
Henry became
shit.
heir to the English throne, and shortly after, inherited the title of Duke of Normandy and Count of Anjou. Now, over in France, King Louis VII was becoming irritated with his wife, Eleanor of Aquitaine. They had been married for 15 years and even went on the Second Crusade together.
Eleanor, are you and your Amazonians done cosplaying as crusaders yet?
Considering how well this crusade is going under your leadership, I could ask you the same thing.
When after a decade and a half, Eleanor had yet to give Louis a male heir, both parties were ready for an annulment, and thus pulled out the tried and true royal excuse.
Consanguinity. After checking the records, it has been discovered that Eleanor and Louis are third cousins once removed.
And within weeks, Eleanor got remarried to Europe's most eligible bachelor, Henry II, who was also her third cousin.
Royal lineage is less of a family tree and more of a family braid.
When King Stephen died, now King Henry and Queen Eleanor became
I keep forgetting. Actually, no.
the power couple of Europe. There might have been some early awkwardness considering Eleanor was like 12 years older.
Alan Rickman's definitive role was Hans Gruber.
Are you mad? He was and always will be Severus Snape.
Ironically, I liked him best as the Sheriff of Nottingham.
Shut up!
But the one thing that they could agree on is that they really liked having sex with each other, producing 8 children, 4 of the surviving being boys, the youngest of which was named John.
It's about bloody time you got to me.
But when Henry II wasn't getting busy with Eleanor, he was getting busy with England. He reformed legal systems, creating the basis for English common law.
Okay, so we'll have a unified court system, we'll reinstate juries, and create a cadre of traveling judges with no bias to the local communities. Is there anything else?
Ooh. Alright, so this one was just talking. Okay, so now we're on John's childhood. Gotcha.
Can we make it legal to hang toilet paper under rather than over?
God?
He also established his authority over rebellious barons, destroying unlicensed castles across England and making a chunk of change in the process. He regained control of Scotland and Wales, took Ireland, and by combining that with his continental lands, created the Angevin Empire, which was less of an empire and more of a patchwork of kingdoms and fiefdoms. Now, Henry had to figure out his succession. As part of 1169's Treaty of Montmerial, Henry announced his sons' would-be inheritances.
To you, Henry the Younger, my firstborn, you will be King of England, as well as the Duke of Normandy and Count of Anjou.
I'd better be.
Richard, my second son, you will be Duke of Aquitaine.
Well, at least I won't have to hang out in England. Yuck.
Geoffrey, my thirdborn, I leave to you the Duchy of Brittany.
That's right. It's Brittany, bitch.
John, what do you want for an inheritance, boy?
My mind had gone blank. Frantically, I tried to remember what it was I wanted. I was blowing it.
How about a nice football?
Football? What's a football?
Football?
Okay, get him out of here.
A football? Oh,
Bruh.
no! What was I doing? Wake up, stupid! Wake up!
No, I want to rule England and Normandy and the rest of the Angevin Empire and have the toots and bears and people love me forever.
You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
Meanwhile,
Damn.
Henry II began to reject the Catholic Church, starting a consequential feud with his friend and Archbishop of Canterbury, Thomas Becket.
Royal courts!
Church courts!
Royal courts!
Church courts! If a member of the clergy is accused of a crime, the church will put them on trial.
Like hell they will. Commit a crime in my land and go to my royal courts. Now get out! Will no one rid me of this turbulent priest?
Father, do you really mean that?
No, John.
Uh-oh.
Deep down, I know that he is only doing what he thinks is right. After all, Thomas is one of my oldest friends, a dear colleague. Say, Knight, what do you have there? Show it to me.
Uh-oh.
What have you done?
But you were enemies.
He was a bishop of Rome!
While
Here's one thing you need
Oh,
to do
shit.
before buying anything online. Don't spend another dime on Amazon
it
until
looks
you
like,
watch.
While John
Just
would
go
spend
and take Oh shit.
Much of his childhood away at school in Anjou, Henry II kept Henry the Younger close, even crowning him as sort of a junior king in 1170, though the young king felt he wasn't being taken seriously.
Dad, I want to be treated like a real king with real power. What makes you say you're not? I'm getting none of the taxes, no one respects me, and my crown says Burger King on it. Oh, does someone need a nap? Hold on a second, John. I've arranged a marriage for you because that's something you do for a 5-year-old, and now you'll get 3 of your brother's castles in Pointu. Say what? Mom, it's not fair. Those are my castles.
Darling, you will literally have hundreds more.
I've checked with the Continental Barons, the Scots, the Church, even your ex, Louis VII, and they'd all have our backs if we revolted.
Open rebellion against your father? I don't know. Joffrey, why have you joined this cabal?
You know, bros before daddos. Whatever, I'm still workshopping it.
Boys, this will plunge the kingdom into civil war again and rip our family in twain. Huh? What's that?
The Queen and I have an open relationship. So how's about we head back to my chambers and I give you the old Norman invasion?
Crush him.
Thus started the Great Revolt of 1173 to 74, in which Henry II just manhandled everyone.
How did you beat us? We literally had everyone on our side. Well, you forgot one thing. I'm frickin' Henry II. Plus, I figured out a way for the church to forgive me. For your sins against Bishop Beckett and the church, we will flog you in view of everyone. What they don't know is, that's my kink. But I understand your frustration. I applaud your agency, and I forgive your transgressions.
Mine as well, right? Love?
Less forgivingly, Henry would imprison Eleanor for the next 16 years.
Yeah, that's about right.
And had John rebelled along with his brothers? No, since he was a powerless 6-year-old prince. And this is maybe where historians begin claiming that he was Henry's favorite. But let's face it, that's like the teacher's favorite being the kid that pees his pants because all the other kids are busy pooping theirs. Speaking of pooping, Henry the Younger, while attempting another revolt against his father, died of dysentery in 1183. Henry II now saw that the 16-year-old
So he died on the toilet, pretty much. I would hate to go out like that. I would really hate to go out like that.
John may actually have a part to play in his dynasty.
Richard, in lieu of your brother Henry no longer being of living status, I declare that you will now inherit England, Normandy, and Anjou.
Oh, do I have to take England?
Yes, you do. Now in return, I ask that you relinquish your claim to Aquitaine to your brother John.
Screw that.
Dad, can he just refuse? Yeah, you said that land would be mine. That's not fair. Fair? When my birthright of England was stolen away, did I wait for fairness to resolve the issue? John and Joffrey, you better go right this wrong.
Together, the two brothers would fail miserably in their conflict against Richard.
Stop hitting each other. Stop hitting each other.
It did not go well, and even Henry had to agree that John maybe needed more training as a leader.
Maybe you're not ready to take on your brother. Instead, I can make you
King John of Ireland. Kneel before me and tremble. Actually, sir, the Pope hasn't signed off on that yet, so, Lord John of Ireland, kneel before me and nervously fidget.
Ah, so you're the son of the English king.
Ooh, are these real leprechauns?
Do leprechauns really smell like this? Like peat moss and defeatist literature?
No, these are the chieftains of Ireland. Over the decades, we've established a fragile, uneasy truce with them.
That's cool. Can I pull on their beards? I'm gonna pull on their beards.
Ah, would you let go of me beard? I've never been so insulted in my life. Lads, that's it. We riot.
Within a year, John lost all of his army and money to the Irish insurgents and fled back to England.
Good. The little pup's gone home. Now, tell me, have potatoes arrived in Ireland yet?
No, not yet.
Bollocks.
John would return to England broke and embarrassed. Still, his prospects would improve in 1186 when Joffrey decided to participate in a jousting tournament.
Lord Joffrey, your garniture is so well polished it will surely blind your foe.
Yeah, I'm shiny as balls. Let's go!
My lord, you're alive and mostly unscathed.
Yes, thank the Lord. Wait, hold on, what are you putting on my wounds?
Oh, just a standard medical sealant of honey.
But I'm allergic to honey. And with that, John had lost another brother and was even more valuable to the family. John was only 2 heartbeats away from the throne, a future never intended for him. What would he do next?
Get in, loser. We're going rebelling.
Why are you rebelling this time? It's not like I'm getting Aquitaine
Why are you
anymore.
doing it this
Yeah,
time?
I know. Dad finally released Mom, so now she'll get Aquitaine back. But Johnny, you gotta realize that Dad is irrelevant.
He's the king of England!
Which is like being the smartest kid on the short bus.
Yeah, no, he's the king. Bro, that's just like... I feel like there's definitely a lot of issues with this family, if we're being honest. Like, I mean... There's this...
John,
So
England
much.
is lame. We're not even speaking English, we're speaking French.
Then why don't we have accents?
Because between the Lafayette and Gouverneur Morris videos, there's enough bad French accents on this channel.
There's always room for one more.
Who's that?
That's King Philip of France. And yeah, he's a jerk, but remember that our continental holdings are fiefdoms of his kingdom. Face it, John, Dad is decrepit and the British Isles are in the sticks. The European continent is where it's at. Normandy, Anjou, Aquitaine, that's what's important.
So, are you in or are you out?
John was stuck in a no-win situation. Side with his increasingly ailing father, or betray him in favor of his brother and the French king. Fortunately, fate soon made the decision for him.
So Richard is having another go at his old man, is he?
It would seem so, my liege, and at the top of the list of the rebels is John. Your Grace?
It would appear the king, upon hearing his favorite son has betrayed him, has died of a broken heart.
What? A broken heart? Who is he, Padme Amidala? This guy's been coughing up blood for weeks. What kind of doctor are you? Don't you realize that people die of actual causes?
No, you're right. This king has clearly died because this man is a witch!
And with...
What?
the death
What?
of Henry II, Richard became King of England and promptly said,
This, I'm going on a crusade.
"You're leaving?"
Hell yeah, I'm not sticking around this store-brand country. Me, Philip II, and the Holy Roman Emperor Frederick Barbarossa are gonna definitely take back the Holy Land. But don't worry, I'm leaving someone to rule in my stead. Someone I can trust. Someone that deserves the honor. William de Longchamp.
That guy? He looks like white windowless vans will be invented specifically for him.
Longchamp it is. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna drop a Deus Vult on this Saladin guy.
With Richard away, Longchamp quickly let the power go to his head, spending lavishly, arresting rivals, attacking nobles, and just standing there on the left side of escalators. The left is for walkers. Eventually, John got word to his brother about the troublesome Longchamp.
Really? Come on. I leave my realm for a second and the whole thing starts falling apart? Fine. Longchamp's out. Can I trust you not to futz the whole thing up before I get back?
Really? Me? Yeah, I got it. So, how's the crusade going?
It's going. Stupid Barbarossa managed to drown in a river, and Philip II got the sniffles and went home, but I think I'll get the best of this Saladin Joker any day now.
Hey, I heard you got married. You're not expecting any heirs anytime soon, right?
God, no. The only thing I plan on spending less time in than England is my wife. John, I should tell you that I've decided my heir should be a real relative. Real blood. That's why I've chosen my royal heir to be our nephew Arthur, Joffrey's kid.
Arthur, he's like 2 years old.
So, I was 2 years old once, and I turned out fine. Listen, I gotta go. That prick Duke Leopold of Austria is trying to raise his standard next to mine. Yeah, you, Leo, get your bloody rag off the wall and away from my kingly colors. John, I gotta go.
Perhaps it was here when, after a life of being considered irrelevant, then coming so close to power, only to have it dashed away yet again, the John we know began to emerge. Cheerio? Go to hell. And soon a situation unfolded that would open the door to John's ultimate rise. While Richard didn't succeed in winning back the Holy Land in the Third Crusade, he did succeed in pissing off several European monarchs. And now that the crusade was over, it was game on for political vendettas. Philip II, Richard's main frenemy, made it known that all routes home through France were closed to the English king, forcing Richard to go in disguise through the more hostile path of Austria.
Remember, boys, if anyone asks, we are but ordinary pilgrims.
Halt! Who goes there?
It is I, Richard the Lionheart. Oh, hi, Leopold. My, what a lovely standard you have.
Richard was captured by Leopold and passed along to the new Holy Roman Emperor Henry VI, who held him hostage on the allure of a potentially gigantic ransom and by the persuasion of Philip of France. And just what did John do when he found out? Okay, we all love Richard and we should totally pay the ransom, but here's a crazy idea. What if we don't?
What? John, no, we are paying that
What if
ransom.
we don't?
With
He
what
said.
money? Richard used all
He said, what if we don't pay it? Right? Yeah, what could go wrong?
of it on his crusade.
I can't believe Henry VI hasn't released him yet.
My letter to Henry asking him to keep Richard as long as possible couldn't have helped.
What?
Nothing. Anyway,
Bruh.
the Angevin Empire will be
I wonder if that's
fine with
true.
me running the show.
Are you
I could
kidding
definitely
me?
see him do
Philip
that.
is already nicking our continental lands.
Well, that's only because of the deal that I already made with him.
Where did you learn to be so heartlessly conniving?
Have you met our family? It's
Have
nothing
you
but
met us?
conspiring and rebelling and backstabbing, yet when I finally do it, all I hear is Richard, Richard, Richard. It's not fair.
John, I know what you're thinking. That Richard is my favorite.
But...
Oh, no, that was the end of my sentence. Richard is my favorite.
face it, Mother, Richard's gone, and I'm in charge now, and there's nothing anyone can do to stop me. He's standing right behind me, isn't he? John fled to Paris, fearful of his brother's vengeance, but he would have to face the music months later in Lisieux. Richard, knowing his brother was at his mercy, took an unusual approach.
You abandoned your king? Your own brother. You conspired for my continued imprisonment, and you usurped my throne. Such crimes should result in you being hung, strung, and quartered.
Please, brother.
But John, have no fear. You are a child, and had bad men looking after you.
Child? I'm 27.
Say it.
I'm a child and had bad men looking after me.
You were merely too feeble-minded to know the error of your ways.
I was too feeble-minded to know the error of my ways.
And your balls smell too.
What does that have to do with... And my balls smell.
I agree. Now, if you'll excuse me, time to start retaking my lands from that quality adversary, Philip.
For the next year, John was a pariah, excluded from royal functions and properties. But eventually, Richard forgave his brother, welcomed him back into the fold, and even made a monumental decision.
So I'm going to make you my official heir.
Really? This is awesome! I won't let you down.
Oh no, I'm quite sure that you will, but Arthur's mom sent him to live with Philip, so you're my only choice. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a relatively easy castle in Limosa to raid. And what's better than this? Guys just
Something's
being
gonna
dudes.
go wrong, right?
Blimey, it appears I've been pierced with an arrow.
And here's the boy that did it.
Well, I order that no harm come to him. The shot was fair and true.
But then Richard's wound became gangrenous, and 11 days later, he died.
Blech.
You know we're going to flay you alive for this, right?
And with that, John, the fourth son that originally was meant to
now
inherit
he's king.
nothing, became the ruler of the Angevin Empire.
This is gonna be great.
So, William Marshall, my family's long-term and trusted advisor, what's on the agenda?
Well, Philip is invading continental lands. Some lords want Arthur as king, and the Third Crusade and Richard's ransom have emptied the royal coffers.
Oh, okay. I'm just gonna go into a closet and throw up for a little bit. A pressing
Bro.
this
No time for that. You gotta go take action.
You're not ready.
You're king now.
With the continental
He is king. He can't look he can't look weak.
lands of John's Angevin
That's a
Empire
no-no.
and which heir they would support. The problem was that the lord of each area could kind of choose who to follow at this point. Normandy, Aquitaine, and Poitou came out for John, whereas Brittany and Anjou initially came out for Arthur, particularly because of his familial ties, and partially because Arthur was also favored by King Philip, who was technically overlord of all of them. Immediately after being crowned, John sailed back to the continent.
Goodbye, fair subjects. I'm off to secure my empire. For God's sake, can't we get a king that stays in England? I'll miss you too.
John knew that he had to do whatever it took to ensure his lord stayed loyal to him. Hey, this monastery looks like it's seen better days. With me as king, we could totally take care of that. As long as you're loyal, I'm prepared to grant this county commune status and all the economic benefits that go along with it. Listen, if you stay loyal to me, I'll make sure the McRib is a permanent menu item. John was feeling more kingly each day, which made him reassess some of his earlier decisions.
What do you mean you want an annulment? I've been a loyal and faithful wife while you've had more homes than a camel convention.
I know, Isabella of Gloucester, but you gotta understand, you were fine when I was in line to inherit nothing, but I'm a king now, and let's face it, you're a nobleman's 8, and a king's 4.
Oh, and just who do you plan on dumping me for?
Isabella of Angoulême. She's beautiful, she's well-connected.
She's 12!
I know, right?
What?
Plus, my personalized license plates will still make sense.
Well, I refuse. And what makes you think the church will go for this anyway?
One word.
What?
Consanguinity. Oh, royal genealogist, it appears my wife and I, oops, we're cousins.
Jesus, can't we just stop pretending you're not all related?
Meanwhile, King Philip was pressing hard for Vexin, the geographic grundle that separated the traditionally Norman and French lands. This area was the largest sticking point as John and Philip sought to negotiate peace.
I want it all.
No way. The splitting of the Vexin was settled years ago when my brother Henry, then age 5, married your sister Margaret, then age 2. Man, we belong to some messed up families.
What if I acknowledge you as the right...
How old is he at this time? Last time I heard he was what? Last time he heard his age, he was 27. And if he's still 27, no, that's a no. Like, there's no way they allow that, right? No way,
yes,
right?
I, King Philip of France, we recognize you as Lord in Anjou, Brittany, and Poitou, and your claim to the English throne. And all I ask in return is most of our Vexin. And one more thing. You recognize that you rule your continental claims in the name of your true overlord, namely, moi.
Would John take the deal? Of course I did. Aside from losing some land in Vexin, I agreed to nothing in this Treaty of Legalea that Richard hadn't already agreed to. Plus, I negated Arthur's claim, and I've brought peace to my lands.
Your Grace, there are some that say that you gave up too much, that you should have continued to fight. Some are calling you soft sword.
Soft sword? Let's see him call me that when I get my 12-year-old wife home.
Yeah, that comes off much creepier than you realize.
And so ended the year 1200, the first full year of John's reign, and the king felt pretty good.
I bet your uncle's feeling pretty good now, Arthur.
I'm sure he does.
Wait, Arthur, why are you in France? I thought you made up with him and returned to England.
Well, I got the feeling he wasn't over the whole contesting him for the crown thing.
I'm gonna kill you when you sleep.
Which reminds me, why did you turn on me and deny my claim?
Did I?
Yeah, you did.
He said, did I?
Here's
Like,
the
as
thing
in that
about
evil,
being
like...
king. You get to make the rules, while your uncle
Like,
may be king
bro.
of England here on the continent, he still answers to moi. And any good king can find a way to get his way. For example, come in. Ah, you, LeBron. How may I help you? Well, Jean stole my fiancée, Isabella. You don't say. Oh, you two would have met a wonderful couple. You had so much in common. Oh, as much as an almost 40-year-old man can have with a 12-year-old girl. I know. Plus, the marriage would have made me the most powerful man in Poitou. And when I, a vassal of Jean, asked for redress, I was denied, and he went after me and my brother. Well, as John is a vassal of mine, I will call him here. And I do not see him here now, so I must assume that he is a contemptuous vassal. Take any action needed to right this wrong. And that goes for you too, Arthur. Your Grace? Your uncle is clearly not living up to his responsibilities here on the mainland, and I assume in England as well. And I am prepared to support you once again. And all I ask in return is you relinquish all claim to Normandy. Whoa. That was the coolest, most diabolical thing I've ever seen. I know, I give myself a semi just doing it. Ew.
And with that, the truce between the two kings was over.
This wouldn't have happened to Richard.
I know, Mother. John, along with his now 80-year-old mother, Eleanor, headed back to the continent. John to secure support in Normandy, while Eleanor went to her homeland in Aquitaine. And at the castle in Mirabeau, she was besieged by her grandson, Arthur.
Give up, Grandma!
Make me, you little brat. And how dare you bring arms against your uncle?
By the custom of Aquitaine, I, son to a brother older than John, have right to the crown.
Okay, but how dare you bring arms against me?
Well, you always did that thing where you lick your thumb and clean my face, and it's gross. It smells. Your spit is gross and it smells weird. But besides the point, I have a right to this land. Not John, who is a tyrant, a usurper, who... Oh, stop me now, ain't he? Hi, Uncle.
John had captured his royal rival, and while that should have meant that he had the advantage, it was more complicated than that. One reason was because many of his would-be allies were busy with other matters.
Sorry I can't pick up the phone. I'm reaffirming my Angevin empire. Leave a message after the beep. Hey, John, it's Pope Innocent. I know you've been dodging me about this Fourth Crusade thing. Listen, if the Holy Roman Empire isn't on this, you better be too. Call me back. Ahoy, ahoy. Oh, hey. Yeah, how's the crusade going? What the f***?
John still had a valuable hostage in Arthur, and he took him to his Norman capital of Rouen. And it was in a castle there that one of the most scandalous events in medieval history took place.
You dirt-eating piece of slime! You scum-sucking pig! You son of a motherless goat! I'm gonna cut your heart out with a spoon! Why a spoon, my lord? Because it's dull, you twit. It'll hurt more. You just wait until I come back. Sire, is it wise to kill the boy? No, William de Bruce, and I have no intention of killing him. He's my leverage against the rebels of the South. As long as I have Arthur, who did illegally challenge me, I have both a pressure point and the moral high ground. As long as he's alive and in my custody, I'm golden. Now let's go scare him some more. Arthur, holy shit!
All his
YouTube Premium is ad-free YouTube and the YouTube Music app all together.
History knows is that
I think that, bro, did he just get...
No one ever saw Arthur again, and that, coupled with Philip...
What? So he didn't even tell anyone, bro? Bro, what? No, this dude's out of his
advancements
mind.
in Normandy forced John to retreat back to England, where support for retaking of the continental lands was lacking.
Okay, barons, let's get ready to head to France. No. What do you mean, no? I'm your king. Yes, king of England. And those are lands in France. Yeah, but we got a thing going on, like a Angevin thing. You've got an Angevin thing. We have lands here in England. Of course, we're English. You know what? I don't care. I'm just gonna say it. You guys aren't good friends. But it's all good. As long as Chateau Gaillard in Normandy is still ours, I'm still good. Sir, Chateau Gaillard has...
Uh-oh.
Say it. It has fallen? Alright, somebody chop this guy's freaking head off. By 1204, what had started off as a successful reign had turned into a reign of misery, and it just kept coming down.
My king, after visiting the continent, I can report that many Norman nobles have taken to Philip, as he is ultimately their real king. But Philip is offering peace.
He is?
Yes, and all he asks is that you first hand over Arthur. Oh, that's not gonna work.
Well, at least you have some land left in France.
I do?
Aquitaine, the land of my birth. You can rest assured that as long as I live, Aquitaine will remain loyal.
Mother, it appears that you've stopped breathing.
It appears I have.
That's it! Enough is enough. If Philip thinks I'm gonna sit back and watch him take everything that I've earned, inherited. Shut up, Marshal. Everything I've earned, he's got another thing coming. King John had an invasion fleet of 51 ships assembled and ready to go the following year, accompanied by thousands of soldiers, many of which were paid mercenaries since some English nobles avoided the call.
Onward to victory! Right, Marshal? Go get him, sire. I can't come since I had to promise Philip not to take arms against him in order to retain my lands in Normandy, but you look badass.
Damn it, Marshal. Archbishop Hubert Walter, are you here to bless me as I bring the full might of England against France?
No, sire. I'm here to ask what happens if France invades while the full might of England is gone.
Well, the Navy, and the Army. Crap. Call off the invasion, everybody. Gee, thanks, Archbishop. Is there anything else you'd like to do to complicate my life? Yo, did that guy just die?
Bro, how many people have just dropped on this? Oh my God.
Which left the position of Archbishop of Canterbury, the highest religious office in England, vacant. John knew the importance of the position and wanted a yes man in there, selecting John.
There's definitely gonna be another one.
Meanwhile,
right?
the monks of Canterbury secretly selected one of their own, Archbishop Reginald. With competing candidates, the decision went to...
I, Pope Innocent III, have reviewed your choices and have determined... Well, I've determined that you're all a bunch of Stugats. You monks, really? Reggie? You must be hitting that sacramental wine too much. And you, John, when you lost Normandy, you must have lost your frickin' mind, too. Thinking I'm gonna let you just...
Am I seeing the Infinity Gauntlet? Or am I just high?
Side. No, my choice for the Archbishop of Canterbury is Cardinal Stephen Langdon.
Langdon? Are you kidding me?
What? He's a renowned theologian and an Englishman.
Who spent the last 30 years in Paris under the patronage of King Philip.
Doesn't mean he won't be impartial.
He's wearing a croissant as underwear. I refuse.
Listen here, Johnny boy. I know that you're used to those pushover popes, but I ain't that guy. I'm the kind of pope that'll transubstantiate my foot up your ass. Now, are you gonna accept my boy Langdon, or am I gonna have to get unpleasant?
John was unwilling to budge, and by 1208, Pope Innocent placed England under interdict, meaning that with the exception of baptizing infants and hearing the confession of the dying, the church was closed.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, because this is totally the way that I told you guys to behave. For my sake. Can I get a drink? Really? The interdict did present John with an interesting opportunity, though.
Father, is there mass today?
No, not today. And not until King John accepts the decision of our... Holy crap! Your Majesty, what is happening? Well, you clergy were given this land and wealth because you were saving everybody's souls and whatever, right?
Yes.
But now you're on strike, right?
Well, yes.
All right, you heard the guy. Let's repo this place. Ooh, I've always wanted one of these hats. The Pope's punishment turned into a jackpot for John, who knew that for him to take back the continental territories from King Philip, he was going to need a lot of money. And he didn't stop with the clergy. The nobles were taxed, the peasants were taxed, the monks were taxed, and forest law got so bad that you couldn't hunt, gather wood, dig a ditch, carry a bow, pet a squirrel, or just chill with your merry men without getting a fine. Even old decks of close friends were being called in. William de Braz, I know you're in there. Oh, hello, Maud de Bras. Where's your husband?
Ain't seen him. What's it to you?
Well, he still owes me 5,000 marks, and if I don't get it today, I'm taking you and your son as hostage till I get my money.
You really think Lord William is just gonna let you take us hostage? You think he's afraid of you, John Lackland?
Yeah, you're right. BT Dubs, isn't that him boarding a ship bound for France? Oh, poop. Maud and her son were thrown into the dungeon of the castle. At this point, it seemed that John had angered and alienated his entire kingdom.
Your Highness, this has caused massive discontent with the barons.
King John.
Why? Why am I the bad guy for this? My dad used to take hostages and blind and castrate them.
But sire?
And Richard was like knee-deep in the blood of Muslim prisoners on his crusade.
But sire!
Fine, I'll make the Snowflake Barons happy and bring them some food.
Wait, how long have they been there without food?
Okay, don't get mad.
Dear Lord!
Yeah, I think 11 days without food and water might have been too long.
You think?
Ah, it appears she bit into his face in her starving desperation.
Well, the woman always was a little cheeky.
Bruh.
Too soon? While this was
Yes! Too soon, too soon! Way too soon.
was going on, John set to asserting his dominance in the British Isle. He led his forces up to Scotland to confront the 68-year-old King William the Lion. Will you swear fealty to me?
What did you say?
I said, will you swear fealty to me?
What?
Will you? Forget it. Alexander,
Bro.
swear fealty on behalf of your father, or I'll kill the lot of you.
You're filled with
What?
salt and poo? What does that even mean?
He returned to Ireland, this time brutally suppressing the Irish, forcing their kings to flee and replacing all his former Anglo-Norman barons with yes-men. Lastly, John was able to bring Welsh King Llewellyn the Great to heel, meaning that I, King John, rule over England, Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, as no man has ever done before.
That's great, but are you finally going to go to France to reconquer your land there?
I'm going.
It seems like you're going in the opposite direction.
I'm going the long way. The earth is round, you jerk. But something John couldn't avoid was his conflict with the church, because in late 1209, John was officially excommunicated. With this, all of his vassals could potentially abandon him, others could claim his throne, and a war on England could even be considered a holy crusade. John had to do something.
You could not live with your own failure. And where did that bring you? Back to me.
Your Holiness, I see the error of my ways and the wisdom of yours. I beg for your forgiveness, and I'm ready to consecrate Langdon as the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Good, good. I believe that you are truly penitent and deserving. Your excommunication will be lifted.
Oh, thank you, Holy Father.
But I do just ask for one more thing. You gave England and Ireland to the Pope?
Oh, you bet I did, and I will continue to rule England and Ireland as a vassal for the church.
But sire, is that wise?
Marshal, these are now holy lands, and those who might rebel would be rebelling against the church. Those who might attack would be attacking God.
Couldn't that give the Pope too much power in England?
I don't foresee that ever becoming a problem. Though I gotta say his new branding for the kingdom is a little bit tacky. But it doesn't matter because my land is safe, my power is secure, and there's one last thing I gotta do to bring it all together. Marshal, we're going to France. In 1213, it was finally time for the Angevin Empire to strike back. In May, an English fleet of 500 ships ambushed the French fleet at the Flemish port of
10 out of 10 on the logo. 10 out of 10.
Dom, preventing any chance of a French invasion and bringing in a huge haul of treasure. Then in 1214, John assembled an Avengers-level anti-French coalition that included the Counts of Flanders and Boulogne and John's nephew and new Holy Roman Emperor, Otto IV. John would invade via his last stronghold of Aquitaine, while the rest of the coalition would invade from the east. It initially went well, with John even scaring off Philip's son Louis, who had been sent to intercept him.
Sire, shouldn't we press on?
Don't be ridiculous, Marshal. By staying here, we're dividing the strength of Philip's forces, which are about to run into a vastly superior and overwhelming coalition army. Mark my words, this is the end of France and the rebirth of the Angevin Empire.
Your Highness, I have news from the east. Tell it to me. You might want to read it somewhere private. Nonsense. Say it out loud for all to hear. Okay. We're f***ed. Philip has crushed our coalition forces at the Battle of Bouvines. Otto fled the battlefield. Half the counts were captured. Our knights and infantry are in shambles, and this war is essentially lost. You pretty much couldn't have taken a bigger L if you tried. And that was it. In order to gain a truce with Philip, John was forced to officially hand over Anjou, the last of his father's lands in France. He left France in October, never to return again. Goodbye, sweet continent. Alas, the bright side is, at least I still have England. Are you sure about that, sire? Just once can I say something remotely optimistic without getting kicked in the balls. And after years,
King John is definitely one of the worst kings. We're definitely seeing that. He's definitely one of the worst kings.
Taxation, as well as John relentlessly getting freaky with their daughters and wives, many of the earls and barons of England had had enough.
That's it! You've been ruling like an absolute tyrant, and we've had it. If you don't agree to King Henry I's old Charter of Liberties, we'll have no choice but to rebel against you.
Sure, I get it. Let me just take this Charter of Liberties and I'll give it a quick read and I'll get right back to you. Innocent, you gotta help me out. The barons are threatening to rebel. God damn it, John, you're like tits on a bull. Give me one good reason I don't just let Philip march up there and clear you out. Because if you help me out, I'll go on a crusade. That's right, I'll free the Holy Land. John, Bobby, you've managed to lose an entire empire. What makes you think that you'll be a good crusader? Pope, do you remember how the most recent Fourth Crusade worked out? How could I be any worse? Read it and weep, jerks. Pope says you have to cut it out or you're all looking at excommunication. May I see it, your highness? Yes, and maybe you can talk some sense into these barons. What did you do? Oops. It's treason then. Tensions were ready to explode. The rebel barons fueled by leaders like Roger Fitzwater and Stephen Langdon, openly rebelled against John and even occupied London. By June of 1215, John agreed to meet the rebel leaders in a meadow called Runnymede.
Okay, so we've gone over consent for taxation, financial penalties on the nobility, and pardons for us. Oh, and we want in writing that no free man shall be seized, imprisoned, or ruined in any way except by the lawful judgment of his peers and the law of the land.
When has that ever been an issue? Fine. Are we done?
One more thing. We want a council of 25 barons to make sure that you are living up to the charter. And if not, we have the lawful right to do something about it.
Okay. Maybe now that we've agreed to this Magna Carta, we can have some peace. War! That's what we're gonna do! But I kinda already signed it. Did you forget England belongs to me? And by the power invested in me, I declare this garbage invalid and shameful. Get a grip on my kingdom now, John! And so started the First Barons' War, which brought an old foe back into the mix. What is it, mon chéri? I'm not sure, but I just woke up with the most wonderful boner! As John and his forces fought rebellious barons in the north, the barons reached out to Prince Louis of France, offering him the throne on account of him also being Henry II's grandson. John raced to Dover and had a fleet assembled to repel the impending invasion. This is the greatest fleet in English history! It will surely repel Louis' invasion, though those clouds seem a bit ominous. Nonsense. And as I always say, you need a few clouds to make that beautiful sunset. One storm later. Sire, the storm has destroyed our fleet, and Louis is coming ashore. That sounds like a you problem. Louis and his French forces had made landfall and were headed towards John, who had stopped in East Anglia to raise support for his cause. Sire, Louis has already made it through London with little resistance. Well, my mercenary should slow him to... Your Majesty, are you all right? Yeah, I've just been feeling off lately. Let me ask you, how much blood in what seems to be continual diarrhea is considered alarming?
John had contracted dysentery, and within days he was on his deathbed.
Damn.
At least it can't get any worse. Your baggage train with all the crown jewels has sunk into quicksand. You know, as soon as I heard it out loud, I knew I was setting
That's what he
myself
gets,
up.
though.
Marshall, I must ask, was I a good king?
No.
Well, you were the best king that you could be. Oh, you could have just said yes. I'm about to die, and you don't gotta be such a dick about it.
And on October 18th,
Yeah,
1216, King
Yeah.
John died.
He
John's
was
son,
king.
Henry
He was
III,
definitely
was
a really
quickly
bad king.
crowned King of England. William Marshall acted as his regents, and with the ire of their discontent dead, convinced most of the barons to abandon Louis and turn on their would-be French usurper like any good Englishman should. The Magna Carta, John's agreement to be limited in his power, would be revised and reissued throughout the 13th century, which explains the unnecessary tauntauns now placed throughout. And all that was left of John was his legacy, which, through the medieval chroniclers, Renaissance writers, Victorian morality, and modern pop culture, has him as the worst. John, born into an incredibly dysfunctional
I feel like he
family,
definitely is one of the
initially meant
worst,
for
though.
nothing, inheriting an untenable empire,
it-
probably wasn't the worst English king. Unfortunately, John was the best king that a person like John could be.
I mean, honestly, I would definitely have to agree with that. He was, I mean, in my eyes, he kind of was one of the worst, if I'm being honest. But, I mean, he was definitely the best king he could have been. He could have been in his eyes. So I definitely will agree with that.
Dude, I'm right here.
John, it appears your video.
Okay, that's it for the video. Let me know what you guys thought. I think we're going to end this one. It was definitely a long one. 50 minutes long right here, guys. So, hopefully you guys do watch it all. Hopefully you guys do enjoy it like I enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys' thoughts are down below in the comments. I will see you guys in the next one. Positivity is key. Motivation is key. Happiness is key. I'll see you guys in the next one. You guys stay safe. Watch out for each other. And we're going to end this one.